Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Whoop Wednesday. I'm going to be going old school and revisiting my roots with an Emax rig tonight. For those of you that don't know, the very first FPV rig that got this whole journey started was the Emax Babyhawk, the original white plastic, basically toothpick. This really, if you want to go all the way back, I feel like it was one of the very first bind and flies that was like that toothpick formula. Camera in the middle, spindly little arms. I think it was a 2.3-inch propeller, but still, it had that like toothpick look to it, right? With the central canopy, central camera. Nah, I guess maybe there was something before it. I'm not sure, but it was an early days like toothpick style rig. Emax contacted me a while ago. It's been way too long for me to have not done this by now, so I apologize for that. But yeah, they reached out to me and said, "Hey, we got any interest in trying a couple of our bind and flies?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." I owe you guys a lot for getting me into this hobby. And making the madness happen. And so they sent me the Tinyhawk 3 Plus, and they also sent me the 3 Plus HD. It's not actually the HD. This is the analog version, but the Freestyle, the Tinyhawk Freestyle. I don't know why it says HD there. It's not. It's the regular analog rig. And so that's an outdoor rig. I'm not even going to bother to try to fly it in the house. That would be absolutely absurd. Like it's insane enough that we're flying 75mm rigs in the house. This is a either a 2 or a 2.5-inch rig. Regardless, no prop guards. We're not we're not railing that around in the house. But this guy we are going to, and yeah, get it set up, see what that's like. Take a look at the tune. Probably tune it up a little bit better than the stock tune. I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit soft. And then will it rip? Will it rip? It's on pH 2.0, so it's not off to a good start. But the batteries are huge. They're 650 mAh. It's going to be this will be interesting. This is you guys think these 75mm rigs are heavy. Yeah, this is going to be heavy to try to fly super technically in the house, but we'll see. And what I'm kind of looking forward to is like hopefully proving that you don't have to have like the most pumped up insane rig to have fun around the house. You just have to fly a million batteries. We'll see. We will see if what I'm able to do with this. I'm actually really looking forward to it. So yeah, that's the plan for tonight, my friends. It comes in an awesome little case, custom cut foam, some slots for some extra stuff here. They give you a nice little charger with it. It is pH 2.0 like I mentioned. Oh, that's cool. The charger has balance. That's actually really nice. I don't have any chargers that will charge just through the balance leads. This is actually really nice to have, come to think of it. So yeah, balance leads for 2S and then pH 2.0 for 1S. A couple little switches to switch it from high volt to regular. I've got the batteries that it came with on the Whoopster over here, banging away. I'm sorry, but this is the cutest thing I've ever seen. They usually give you those big silly screwdrivers that you throw away, but I ain't throwing this one away. Look at this little guy. Look at this. Look how satisfying that is. I've never seen. It's just like a full-size screwdriver, but then shrunken down. Boy, is that a weird thing to get so excited about. That's just terrific. Oh, I got the wrong camera on. I love that. I don't know why I love that so much. I'm going to use that, man. That thing is sitting on my desk. It's going to be sitting on my desk. They give you a couple of extra white rubber bands for the battery tray, which we'll look at. And what else? I forgot to pop the chat out. Hang on. Top chat to live chat. Let's get it here. There we go. All right, cool. Pause this as well. All right, and then it looks like a bunch of extra screws, couple of little extra rubber grommets in here. You know the deal with Bind and Flies. They always come with a little package of stuff. The case, of course, has this cool little spot up top here where you can throw your extra stuff. Some stickers. Oh, that's cool. I put a sticker over it. But it's got a warning, props in? Yeah, props in. They have it set up for props in. That's pretty cool. This kind of thing is really important for new people. I remember taking, every time I would take propellers off, I would take a picture because I was terrified that I wouldn't. Like, I remember looking at it and being like, what is this cockamamie shit? This propeller is this way, this other one is this way. I didn't really take the time to look at it and just be like, clockwise? Well, it would be counterclockwise, clockwise, clockwise, like, I don't know. I just didn't. I would take pictures of it every time so that I didn't put the propellers back on wrong. So stupid little pieces of paper that say, warning, propellers are props in. That actually really helps with the numbers, with the motor numbers on them. QR codes for the manuals, of course. Disclaimer. Precautions. Again, important stuff for absolutely brand new people. And an extra set of propellers, which is great because these are specific propellers. These are 0802s flipped upside down, and then the propeller, like, encases the motor. It's a really odd kind of setup. That admittedly I don't love, but when you have there is some value in, like, with a beginner product, setting it up so that, like, you have to get the specific parts. I don't love it. I would rather a build be, like, universal so that you can grow with it and whatnot. But what's nice about setting something up like this is that you force people to buy the parts from you, and it makes it a lot easier. For a very first rig, if the only set of propellers you have to get are this specific set of propellers, that prevents you from getting a completely wrong prop that won't work or will destroy the performance of it. So yeah, there is a school of thought where on more intro rigs, you kind of lock it down. You run a wacky motor, you run a wacky propeller. The frame is kind of specific. The AIO is not regularly sized. And then, you know, the replacement parts come from one place. There's only one replacement part, and it is what it is. Again, I steer people towards like Mobula 6s and now the Betaflight Air 65 for like a first rig, so that, again, they can grow with it, they can upgrade it. But those are people that have already found me, right? Like, if you haven't found Joshua or me or somebody that can give you all the information that you're going to need when you're starting this hobby, if you're just in it all on your own, like I was way back when, it was actually really nice that there weren't a ton of options. It kept me from getting overwhelmed. And so, yeah, it's a different school of thought, but there's nothing wrong with setting it up like this. Emax has chosen to do it. Nothing against them. Let's get it set up, my friends. Camera is here. Let me grab this. Oh God, what's happening? Let me grab this guy and we'll take a look at the actual build itself. Little camera here, which I've cranked these screws down so it doesn't slip on me. And I've got it set up pretty low camera angle, but you can actually put tons of camera angle on this. They're doing this pusher style here with the supports on top. Apparently this is pretty tough. And then on the bottom, you can kind of see, this is probably the VTX here on the bottom, and then the AIO is up in there. Here are the little white rubber bands that are going to hold the battery in. pH 2.0 with an itty bitty little capacitor on it. Everything looks nice and clean. There's the antenna coming up through a little hole, peeking up the top there. USB-C hanging out the top as well. There's your motor plugs. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 screws to pop this top canopy thing off. We're not going to take it apart. There's no real reason. And yeah, there's the way the propellers kind of encase the little 802 motors. I don't know anything about these motors. Let's take a look on their website real quick. I made it a point to pull it up here. And so, where are we at? Improved VTX, HD FPV. I don't know about that. Why do they keep saying HD FPV? I don't know why they're saying HD. Where are the specs? No? Huh. Wow, they're not giving me any info on KV or... That's admittedly a little bit frustrating. Let's see if we can find it on another website. Let's just search YouTube for this, and in theory it'll find it somewhere else. Ready-made RC, what do you got for me? You gonna tell me what it is? You gonna tell me the things I want to know? Yeah, you are. 35.5 grams. Wow. Hey, also, it's a 1.6 inch prop, 1.6 inch quad blade. Oh, okay. So they make it with HD0, but that's not this one. At the time, I didn't have HD0 goggles, so I told them to send me the analog version. So yeah, they sent me the analog one. Here we go. 802. Whoa. 15,000 kV. Okay, this is going to be a challenge. That is a super low kV. Yikes. Okay. VTX we don't care about because we have a different version. Flight controller is an F4, 6 amp ESCs, BLHES. Oh, looks like it'll take 2S. Very cool. Maybe that's why they chose this kV, so that you can run it up on 2S. You would need to change the battery lead to run it on 2S. That's really all we need to know. Wheelbase is 76 millimeters. Close enough. 75, 76. So yeah, there you go. Wow, 15,000 kV motor. That's incredibly low. Nice that it's an 802 though. So this is gonna be interesting. It's heavy and it's very low kV. Let's get it into Betaflight and start farting around with it. Actually, instead of doing that, not applicable was first in the chat. Northern Tier, Notice, Curtis Hayes, Frank Nicholas, Mick Mucus, Sleepy CBR, Jbo888, Andrew Taylor, Walter Van Den Oor, James Reedy, Curtis Hayes again, 661 FPV, Notice, 661, Walter, Safe Zone, Sleepy CBR, James Reedy again, Not doing good. Not repeating people tonight. Kevin Sumner, Cloudhopper, J-Bo again. We're gonna leave it there. If you want, Denzel the Terrible, 16-bit Winder. If you want the Gangly Man to say your name, say something in chat. Tag me. Type CiottiFPV into your chat comment. And man, we got our COVID booster shots today. My arm is hurting. It's not black and blue or anything though, so I'm fine. Type CiottiFPV into your comment if you want me to read it. Or do a super chat if you want to support the insanity that is trying to do FPV full time. It's ridiculous. I don't necessarily recommend it, but man, what a crazy ride it's been. All right. Do I need this products page up anymore? I think we're good. CiottiFPV.com is where you can support me. Do it. Click all the buttons. James Reedy tagged me and said, increase flight time by twisting the PH 2.0 posts ever so slightly that the corners seat better. What? Increase flight time by twisting the PH 2.0 posts? Twisting? Is that a thing? You're fucking with me, aren't you? I know this game. I know this game. Curtis Hayes says, it's like those tiny pickles. What? What's like those? What tiny pickles? What tiny pickles? Jbo888 says, was not expecting for you to say 54 hover point was bad. Mobula 6, 2024, ball sack canopy, run cam 3, stock frame and motors, broke motor wires, so haven't turned off Throttle Expo to test. Gotcha. Yeah, 54 hover point is awful high. You usually want to be down towards 30% or so. Walter says, good job. Jabo also says, I wish I found you earlier. Started Emax ready to go kit and have now upgraded everything but the goggles. Yet still has been fun nonetheless. Yeah, you know, it's really hard, like, starting with something like this that kind of locks you into their ecosystem. Like, on one hand, it's kind of annoying because you're going to outgrow it and you're probably not going to fly it again. But, like, it's going to be so rare that you somehow manage to have your very first rig that you buy be something that you can actually upgrade and stick with for a while. Because, like, you're not going to, like, go trolling all these internet people and, like, find one that has lots of good info and can guide you down that path, right? Like, you're going to just buy something. And so, like, it's probably... well, here. Has anyone in the chat flown the very first rig that they bought ever again? Like, has anybody in the chat actually managed for their very first rig to buy something that they could upgrade and run for a year, 2 years? I think it's super uncommon. I think it's almost a rite of passage, right? And, like, you know, people ask all the time, like, oh, what was your first rig? And if it's like, I'm still flying my first rig, it's kind of like, oh, well, fuck you. Like, get on team wasted our money on the first rig. But you're not wasting your money. You're getting something that's gonna, you know, get you started. And you're so bad when you start that, like, I really don't think it matters. And so, yeah, I feel like 99% of people, the first thing that they build, like, it just ends up on the shelf or in a box or whatever and collecting dust. But you know what? Like, it's a super cool story that you can tell. And it's like that one over there, you know, like, for me, it's like, this was my very first 5-inch build. I haven't flown it in forever. I'll fly it, like, maybe once every 2 years as, like, a joke. But, like, it's awesome that it sits there, you know? You got a cool little wall piece. It gives you that nostalgia. And I will say this. When I fly that rig, it reminds me of how far we've come. And that there's something cool about that. There's something cool about, like, going back and flying your first ever rig and being like, wow, this thing was awful. I'm way better at building. The tech has come really far. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's a bunch of other reasons. But, so, J-Bo, yeah, man, welcome to the club. You're in the majority where yeah, your first rig is gonna collect a bunch of dust, but it's a cool story to tell. 661 says because the HD version is HD. There we go. That's why they call it HD. Jbo888 says, I will be impressed to see you flip and roll the Tinyhawk. I cannot. Oh my god, really? Am I really not even going to be able to flip and roll it? Oh boy. Okay. Dingle says, are we going to rip it on 1S and 2S? It's not, it doesn't have a battery connector for 2S, and I'm not going to tear this thing apart and do that, so it's going to be 1S only. The batteries are on the charger now. Slackers FPV says, did you get your hands on an Air 75 yet? I did not, and I probably won't. I'm not going to buy a bind and fly like that. The tiny screwdriver is like tiny pickles. I love it. Yeah, I'm not gonna buy one, and they didn't send me one, and I'm not necessarily gonna go back to them and say like, hey, can you send me one? Like if companies want to send me, like if companies reach out to me and say like, hey, can you review this product or can you help us with this product? Like I'm great, but I don't like go to them and solicit the stuff because I don't know, it just feels weird, and like I'm not. It takes me a long time to like actually review them a lot of times, and like yeah, I don't know. And I'm just super backlogged. I have like 10,000 other things going on. Jabo says, since buying the Mobula 6, I've flown the Tinyhawk once. Just I'm not gonna read that last part because it's mean. Brent Anderson says, thanks to you, CiottiFPV, rocking the firstie Mobula 6. There you go. So it does happen. It does happen, but it is exceedingly rare. Andrew Taylor says, no first rig found its new home in a tall tree just yesterday. Tinyhawk 3 freestyle analog, gutted because it would have been a cool one to keep around. Eventually it will fall out. So whatever that tall tree that it's in, check down below that tall tree as often as you can. Eventually the wind will actually knock it out of there. It happens to everyone. I've had people that have found them like 2 years later that eventually do fall out of the trees. Or just cut that fucker down. J-Bo with a 10 Australian dollar super chat. He says, I have faith in you. I have faith you'll do some tricks. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the support. Very cool of you. Cool. I'm caught up on chat. Let's get this thing plugged into Betaflight and see what happens. Man, I have not... This is like, you know, like technically the Air 65s were bind and flies, but like this is a bind and fly. This is like a bind and fly. I have not seen like a proper beginner bind and fly in a while. This should be interesting to see what the deal is. James Reedy just really taking it up a notch in chat. Come on, Betaflight, open, you bastard! Open! Wow. Lately, Betaflight takes forever to open. Although not all the time, just when I need it to open quickly. It takes forever. Come on, man. There it goes. Okay, here we go. So, I should have probably tried to bind it to the transmitter first, but left, right, all left. Okay, great. So, that's all set up. Ports tab. Ooh, it's got smart audio. That's very cool. Dig that. TH3 plus there. Oh my god, PID loop is on 8K? I'm going to take that down to 4K because this is an F4 and the CPU load is all the way up at 63%. So yeah, I'm going to drop it down to 4K. Air mode is permanently on. OSD is on. Great. Dshot beeper. I'll just turn that switch on there. All right, save and reboot. Sleepy CBR says, try to restrain your enthusiasm, lol. Frank Nicholas says, as a bind and fly, why not just put it in the air first, then set rates, etc.? I don't know, because it's me. CMYK says, yo, WTF, Emax bind and flight. Yeah, the Emax was cool enough to send me a couple of bind and flies a while back, and they've just been sitting here. And they actually kind of got buried a little bit, which is really why I forgot about them. Last week I was digging around down there. I'm like, oh man, I'm the worst. And so I put them on the other side of the desk, and yeah, it was a perfect chance to check them out. Martin Tanley says, is there any way to calculate motor amp output draw from OSD if the motors I purchased were from China and didn't have an amp draw at 100%? Sort of, yeah. I mean, put the amp OSD element and that'll give you somewhat of an idea if the AIO is calibrated properly, which is the hard part. So it's tough, but you can just turn on the amp readings in the OSD, and that'll usually give you some idea. 661 says my first quad was a brushed Fly Sky Tiny Whoop Ishin E010. Flew it for many years until one day the dog ate it. Literally, oh my god, literally swallowed the entire thing. Jesus Christ. All right, let's get hooked back up to Betaflight. I will change as little as possible so that you guys get like the damn near stone stock flight characteristics, and then I'll start screwing around with stuff. I am going to change a couple little things here and there, though, that don't really affect the flight performance all that much. All right, so we went through that. Power and battery, let's take a look. Yep, looks to be about right. Failsafe, I just took a look at presets we're going to leave alone. PID tune, this should be, whoa! Look, holy hell! Okay, so they've gone incredibly aggressive on the PID tune, probably because the motors are 15,000 kV. It's on 1S and it's very heavy. So yeah, this is how you use the PID tune as like a band-aid for a powertrain and or an all-up weight that are not able to get you great performance. So this should be interesting. I'm not going to be able to tune this much. I'm probably going to end up just maxing out the tracking slider and the master multiplier if it's got enough headroom in the tune. They've got the dynamic damping turned way down. I'm definitely going to pump this up quite a bit. But yeah, for right now, I'm going to leave this stuff alone. Everything else looks about right. Wow, look at them. They've got the I-term relax turned to cutoff, turned all the way down to 5. That's actually kind of great. Somebody knows what they're doing over there. Thrust linearization is up on 25%. VBAT sag compensation's turned all the way up. Okay. They had somebody that knows what they're doing tune this. Oh my god, it's on Betaflight rates. Old school. I have no idea what these rates are going to be like. 500 degrees a second, though, so they won't be that off from what I'm used to. Oh my god, and they've got throttle expo turned on, and they have a lot of it. Jesus, yo. Okay, look at Emax. They've been watching the live streams. Probably not. Throttle mid is 50% though. We'll see about that. But yeah, tons of throttle expo. Jeez. Let's take a look at the filters. Oh boy, this is a weird filtering profile. Oh, this is super weird. Why do they have so much gyro filtering? Tons and tons and tons of gyro. Oh, they're not using RPM filtering. Okay. So they're relying on 3 dynamic notches. That's interesting. Wow, that's super strange to have this much gyro filtering. We're going to leave it alone for right now. Express LRX, SPI built in. Okay. Oh, look at that. Wow, it's set up TAER out of the box. That's... Man, the weird things keep on coming. Yeah, okay, so I don't have to change that. I mean, I am going to just fix this because whatever. It's not going to make much of a difference. I'm just going to add a little bit of deadband because this is going to cover up my transmitter being a little old. Okay, so that doesn't really change anything. Let's take a look at the modes. Arm is on aux 1, great. Angle and horizon are on aux 2. I'm going to turn off angle mode. I'm just not interested in it. And I'm going to take horizon mode for aux 2 up to where I normally put it. Beeper is on aux 4. I need to change that to aux 3. Switch position is correct, though. Flip over after crash is on aux 3, but I need to put it in the middle. So we'll do that. And that's it. Launch control, nah, I won't bother turning that on. Okay, so the modes are pretty dialed in. Adjustments we're not going to mess around with. We'll leave the OSD on. It's fine. Dshot 300, not surprising. Bidirectional Dshot. I bet you this is still on BLHeliS. Maybe we'll get this onto, not maybe, we'll definitely get this onto, see if we can get it onto bluejay. And then maybe we'll turn on bidirectional Dshot. I mean, why not? Props in, okay. OSD, let's see what they're... OSD setup is. Yeah, it's pretty standard stuff. I'm gonna put my... nah, I'll leave this OSD. It's fine. It's fine. Let me add... no, we'll leave it alone. It's fine. It's fine. Video transmitter, it's set for raceband 4. I'm going to crank that up to raceband 8. I'm going to leave it on 25 milliwatts. I am going to turn on low power disarm and save it. All right, we'll leave everything else alone. Cool. Let's see if it'll bind. I'm going to assume that I can do the plug it in, unplug it 3 times thing. I don't know what version of ELRS it's on, 2 point something or 3 point something. Curtis says, what does bidirectional Dshot give you on a tiny whoop? Same thing it gives you on every other rig, is the best possible filtering. Bidirectional Dshot allows you to run RPM filtering, which is the first filtering that we've ever had that's specific for quads. All other filtering that we've ever had is audio filtering, and these are not speakers. So yeah, bidirectional Dshot allows you to run RPM filtering, which is a big deal. It's the best filtering setup that we've ever had in FPV. All right, let me pull one of the whichever one of these batteries is the most charged. This is not totally charged, but it's close enough. It's 4.33. So let's plug in 3 times and see what happens. Wait, no, hold on. Let me get into the bind mode on the module. All right, so 1. Oh my God, that's bluejay, isn't it? 2. No, it's not. 3. That's JESC, isn't it? All right, plugged in 3 times. Let's see if it'll bind. This module is 2.5. I don't think it's on 2.5 because it would have bound. So let's switch the module out and try it again. Come on. Come on, Minmo. You can do it. There you go. Okay. Bind mode. Press to send bind request. Binding. Oh, that was quick. That might have bound. Did it? Hit it one more time. All right. Let's try power cycling. And for all I know, there's a bind button. But let's see. Power cycle them both. And let's see what happens here. All right. It is not bound on this module. Let's pull this module and put the other one in. See if it's bound here. Maybe I just didn't see it. Let's power cycle the transmitter. Shouldn't have to, but it takes 1 second. All right, so no, it's not bound on either. So what that tells me is it's probably not a plug it in, unplug it 3 times binding procedure. Let's look for a button. There is a button right in there, but I believe that's on the VTX. Yeah, that's the VTX, so that's not going to be the button. The flight controller is up on the top here. There's a button. Okay, it's probably on there. So this is the module on 2.5. Let me get it back to the binding mode. Here we go. All right, cool. So we're going to plug power in, and then we are going to push the button. Okay, in theory, it is now in bind mode, pushing the binding button. It claims that it's binding. Try it one more time. Okay, let's try the 3.0 module. And it started flashing differently when I hit that button, so that is probably the bind button. All right, this module's up. Let's get it in here. Bind mode, press to send bind request. There it is! So it's on ELRS 3.0, and all you gotta do is push the button. Now it's bound, look at that. And it'll arm. Cool, that's not too hard. Bind buttons, yo. I mean, the whole plug and unplug 3 times is totally fine, and I almost maybe prefer that because it saves you space on the board. So, oh, look at that! It's a toilet tank setup for the battery. I don't love that, but it is what it is. Ooh, this is interesting, man. So, this being a pusher, and then there's this battery lead, and like there's all kinds of stuff that can potentially like get into the blades here. This ought to be interesting to see if like it gets all jammed up. Was there no turtle mode? No. There was flip over. There was crash recovery. Okay, yeah, we're good. We're good. On the flip side, during turtle mode, it'll be totally fine. But yeah, I don't. You guys know I don't love the whole pusher thing in general. So this will be interesting. This might give me more ammunition for why I don't like pushers. The reason that I don't like the toilet tank's battery setup is because, like, what is centered? Like, is this centered? Is that centered? Is this centered? Is it centered now? Like the battery and there's up here on the battery, it's not lithium polymer. It's just like this cable and like some extra like material. So there's no way to ever know like if you have the center of gravity quite right. On your first rig ever, that doesn't matter. But still, like this is one of the reasons that I'm not team toilet tank the battery. Toilet tanking the battery is when you put the battery sideways like this, like the toilet tank on the top of your toilet. All right, let's see what this thing's all about. Just run it over like that and get it plugged in. That was a big ass beep. Looks like we'll be okay. The battery cable wants to sit down here, and that'll be cool because that'll make it sit like this on the ground. It's almost like a forced, I don't know, words. Look at that! So the signal is garbage because I have it set up low power until first arm. When I arm it, it's going to put it up to 25 milliwatts. Video still does not look that great, but again, first rig kind of stuff, you know? Keep the cost down. Put a cheap VTX in it, I guess. All right, let's see what's what. I should have added some extra stuff to the post screen thing. So you can see pretty low up tilt. Wow, the hover point is really high. Hover point is really, really high, like 50%. So these are the rates that it came with. There is pretty much no expo. This is incredibly sensitive in the middle of the stick travel. This is hard to fly with these rates. I'm going to change the rates at the end of this battery. Wow, it is heavy, and it... Oh boy, that's full throttle. Oh, that's full throttle. I mean, we can do some stuff though. Oh my god, you just you just have to sit it on full throttle. Yo, we are spoiled with these tiny whoops that we have nowadays. Holy cow. Man, I gotta really like focus. All right, so you see all these tiny, see how all my flying looks terrible because of all these little corrections. This is how I always fly, but I have a lot of expo, so these little left and rights disappear because of the expo. I don't have the guts to drop it down through that into that cube because I don't think I'll be able to keep it from hitting the ground. Whoa, okay. Oh, that's not flyable. Okay, so VTX is not all that powerful. Let's kick the VTX power up a little bit. Oh, well, let's try... Oh. Okay, so it barely has enough power for turtle mode, and you gotta use the momentum, right? So if I fire up the right side motors... It doesn't... okay, it does. If that ever happens to you, use the momentum. Fire up the left side motors. Ready? Oh. And then see how it rolls itself over like that? That's something that you might have to do someday. Okay. What's the battery life looking like? We're at 2 minutes and 11, and it's at 3.7. This is a 650 mAh battery. Wow, I gotta get on the throttle really early to keep it off the ground. Oh! Let's go upstairs with it. Oh, wait, no, I forgot to change the output power. Hold on. Okay, so let's go into the menu here, features, VTX, and let's turn it up. Let's try 100 first. Save, confirm. Great. All right, and I saw it switch up to 100. Let's see if it's... Let's see what it'll do at the top of the stairs on 100 milliwatts. 100 million watts. Hey, now we're fine. Cool. So they might have, like, for 25 milliwatts, it might be outputting, like, 10 milliwatts or something. But, I mean, this is the performance that we normally get from 25 milliwatts. Oh, no, this is better than... Yeah, look, there was, like, no garbage up here. So this is probably, like, a true 100 milliwatts. This looks fine. Oh, that was full throttle the whole time! Wow! Yeah, man, we are spoiled, bro. We are so spoiled. Let's see if I can get it down the stairs. Yeah! Oh, almost. Oh! Okay, there we go. And we are towards the end of the battery. 650 milliamp battery. It's 3 minutes and 25. Not bad. I'm pushing it hard. Like, as a new pilot, you're not going to fly it anywhere near this hard. It's kind of noisy down here. Hold on. Let me bring the VTX power back down. I feel like it was better on 25 milliwatts down here in the basement. Confirm 25. Great. Oh no, it's still it's just, yeah. Even in the rapid fires, I'm getting. Oh yeah, we did it. We did it. I'm gonna keep going. I want to see if we can get to 4 minutes. I'm assuming that we can. Oh boy, that was almost full throttle. I didn't... Man, I'm so used to these lightweight, big KV rigs. Oh. Oh, it's just full. You go from no throttle to zero throttle to full throttle. And you got to do it early. All right, so we're going to bring it in. We got over 4 minutes. When you're new, it's all about flight time, right? So a big-ass 650 mAh battery makes a lot of sense. So there you go. That's the battery that I'm going to fly with it, pretty much stock. Now we're going to start cranking it up. I'm going to get this battery right back on the charger. And I'm hoping to fly 6 batteries on this thing tonight. That would be really cool. We'll see. We'll see if I can keep... get them charged up enough. I have the ViFly set to 0.9 amps, so it's cranking as hard as it can. That battery was not fully charged, so yeah, I pulled it off. I put these 3 batteries on at the same time, and the other 2 that I didn't pull off, they're still at like 4.34, 4.35. So yeah, that was not a full battery. Hell, we might have gotten to 5 minutes with a full battery. Health check. No big crashes, but still. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Cool. Let's start tuning it, tweaking it, see how far we can push it, and to get a little bit better flight performance. And I'm gonna try to get that weird filtering set up a little bit more normalized. Damn. That was, I guess because it doesn't have much power, it doesn't feel that heavy. It doesn't feel as heavy. So here, let's talk about the weight, actually. What did the website say? 45 grams? I assume that's with a battery, right? That has to be with a battery. Doesn't have to be. Dry. Yeah, okay. Dry, it is 32.95 grams. Call it 33 grams. 33 grams dry. The Jungle Gym Basher, as a point of reference for you, is 23.5 grams. So extra 10 grams. And then most of these 65 millimeter rigs are like between 16 and 18 grams, just so you have a point of reference. 650 mAh 1S battery that's a massive 1S battery. So that's a very heavy battery. but makes sense for a beginner rig, right? Big old battery. It's gonna make it easier for you to control the throttle and whatnot. Yeah, just as much flight time as possible. It's all about stick time when you're new, so makes sense to throw a big battery at them. All right, let's get it into the let's get into Betaflight and start changing stuff. Somebody in the chat mentioned to do a CLI dump. That's a great idea. I don't usually do it this way, but I should start doing it this way. In presets, there's a button called Save Backup. It just saves a CLI dump, but it's just cool. And look, it even says CLI backup of TH3+. That's pretty handy. Save it to the desktop. I do recommend that you look at that file to make sure that there's stuff in there. I've done that before, and the text file is empty, and then you're screwed. But yeah, in this case, we are good to go. We have all the setup stuff. First thing I want to do is actually grab my OSD off of one of my other rigs. So let's do that real quick here. Because I want to take a look at like the amps and the throttle and all the good stuff that we take a look at normally. So if you've got your OSD set up perfectly on one rig, here's how you can very easily move that to other rigs. You come into the CLI, and I actually just learned this. You type dump all, and now it's going to give you everything. The stuff that is stock, the stuff that is not stock, the stuff that you've changed, and it puts set in front of everything. Usually I just do diff, but this dump all will give you more stuff. Shout out to Joshua for saying this in one of his videos the other day. And then, so that's going to bring you to the bottom, and there's no OSD stuff down here. So scroll up slowly, and what you're looking for is set space OSD. And there'll be a big chunk of it. So keep scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. It's been a while since I said scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. There it is. So we got this section here with set OSD, set OSD, set OSD, set. So all you got to do is find the bottom one, set OSD menu background equals transparent. And so you're going to grab from here and highlight and just go all the way up to the top of the set OSD stuff. There it is. And there's the very top one. Set OSD units equals imperial. All that. Command C, Control C on a PC. Let me zoom back out. And now this is my entire OSD profile on this other Tiny Whoop. Unplug it. Plug in the rig that you want to dump that into. Go into the CLI, paste it, and type save. Nice and simple. And now that'll bring the whole OSD setup over. So it'll turn stuff on, it'll turn stuff off, everything. So here we go. Come into the CLI. Command V or Control V. All right, and now you're looking for these red texts. That's important. The red text means it doesn't know what that line of CLI code was. So just check it. Set OSD warn arming disable. That's fine. Warn bat warning on. These are fine. These are warnings that we don't really care about those. Set OSD ESC temperature alarm. It doesn't understand it. That's fine. The stock ESC temperature alarm will be okay. Error in set OSD display name position. That's the craft name, so the craft name might not be in the right position. We'll take a look at that in a second. Invalid name OSD Navario. I don't know what that is. But it's a position one, so it doesn't matter. This is another position one, so it doesn't matter. OSD log status. Yeah, these are trying to change the position of OSD elements. That's not going to mess anything up. Invalid name. OSD stat. Date and time. Don't care about that. Timer 1. Set OSD. Oh, turn timer 1 on. That's fine. Max speed, max distance. Don't care. Minimum battery, end battery. That's all fine. Yeah, we're okay. Type save. That happens when there's a version mismatch. The version of Betaflight on this Tiny Whoop that I pulled that off of is different than the version of Betaflight on the Tinyhawk. they'll sometimes behind the scenes they'll change names of stuff in the CLI. So now we're gonna click into the OSD and we're gonna just take a look to check it and see what it looks like, and it looks fine. This is what my OSD usually looks like, so we're good. Capacity 650. It's okay. Warning. So yeah, some of these warnings are not turned on, but that's whatever. Post-flight statistics. Let's turn a couple of these on. Battery voltage minimum, battery voltage end. No, that's good. ESC RPM maximum. That'll be interesting. Although without bidirectional Dshot, that won't work. But we're going to try to get bidirectional Dshot turned on in a minute here. So we're going to just turn this on preemptively. Timer 1, I'm going to turn on. Timer 2, I'm going to turn off. It's no big deal, whatever. RSSI minimum, cool. G-force maximum is always fun. None of these are all that important. They're just interesting. ESC temperature maximum, that's a cool one to have on. All right, that's fine. Let's save that. We'll leave it alone. I'm going to go into adjustments and really quickly do my clean OSD setup because that's what some of those bing bongs are set up. OSD, aux2. All right, super simple. We won't really use that. It's just, you know, good practice to set that up on everything. All right, so let's get the... Hey, 2 of the batteries are now officially done charging. So let's fire up ESC configurator and see what's what. See if we can get bluejay on this guy. Transmitter is turned off. Great. So we're going to put battery power to it. And we're going to connect. We are going to read settings. Yep, it is on JESC. Oh. I'll be damned. Oh, wait. No. We're good. Flash all. Okay, yeah. I didn't know that, though. You can't even change settings. So yeah, it's on JESC. So we're going to go to flash all ESCs. We're going to flash it to bluejay. It looks like it is finding the ESC, not version, but whatever the hell this is. SH90, that's great. And then, oh wow, this is new. Version 21.0. That's brand new. I don't trust it though. I'm going to do 0.17. And we're going to do 48K PWM. And we're going to flash. This might brick it, for the record. But we'll see. Should be fine. As long as it finds this. This is the... it's the number is the gate timing. And then the letters, I believe, are the version of the... the version of the processor. The ESC's processor. Don't quote me on that, though. Coming right along here. Looks like we'll be fine. This will actually make a little bit more power, and it should be a little bit more efficient here as well. If I wasn't so lazy, I would see if I could find bluejay 0.16 SH90, but, I mean, this is whatever. Bluejay 0.17 has been fine on most stuff. If it's not, we'll know it. Cool. That's all good to go. Turn the beepers up a little bit louder here. Turn the beacon delay down to 2 minutes. Turn on, brake on, stop. None of this really matters all that much, but it's just stuff that I do on everything. And write the settings. Cool. We're now on 48K bluejay. Disconnect. That's the sound of my people right there. Come on now. Let's check the motor rotation because there's a chance that it got changed in there. So we're done with this. Come in here, come into the motors tab, and I'm just going to crank them up here. And it feels like everybody is still making thrust, but let me just double check. Yep, that's props in. That's props in. That's props in. That's props in. Yep, we're good. All right, so Dshot 300. Let's now try to turn on bidirectional Dshot and see what happens. That seems okay. Let's save it and reboot it. That's good. It's beeping. That's important. Connect. And we're going to come right back into the motors tab. And we're going to do the same thing. And we're going to look for error to make sure that the ESC processor can handle it. And yeah, we're fine. It's not showing any error. Yeah, no, we're good. Cool. Bidirectional Dshot and RPM filtering are now turned on. Let's come in here to filter settings, and there it is, gyro RPM filter. We're going to turn the harmonics down to 1 and save because it's a tiny whoop. When you something really cool that they've added to Betaflight is that when you turn the RPM filtering on, it automatically changes the dynamic notch filter. It brings the notch count down to 1 is the main thing that it does. The rest of the stuff can stay the same. And so now we might have been able to take some of this gyro filtering away without RPM filtering, but like, why not turn on RPM filtering? It takes 3 seconds and it's easy to do, right? So I'm now going to grab this gyro filter multiplier that they had down on 0.6, and I'm going to pull it all the way up to 2.0 because typically we just don't need the gyro filtering. I'm going to save this, and I'm actually going to try to fly it real quick because that is a massive change. If for whatever reason it can't handle that, I want to know it now before I go screwing around with a bunch of other stuff. So real quick, I'm just going to throw a battery on here, and I'm just going to line of sight this. It's kind of weird to me that they have so much gyro filtering in there. What that says to me is that potentially this is a very electrically noisy AIO AIO. So just real quick, I just want to make sure that this thing hovers without rocketing into the ceiling. So fire the controller up, and let's just real quick see, just to make sure it's not super unhappy. Why won't it bind? Hey, there it goes. It just needed a second. All right. It's okay so far. We're good. Cool. So that's fine. I won't be able to feel if the motors are getting hot, but they didn't sound weird. They didn't make the normal noises that I hear when you've taken too much filtering away. You know what's kind of nice about this? Usually you have to pull the battery out to get at the USB plug. The USB plug's up on top, so I can leave the battery in there. Silver lining, friends. Always look for the, you know, it's the little things. It's the little things that are cool. All right, so we've just removed a ton of latency from the filtering. Let's keep going, man. Let's keep pushing this thing. I'm gonna do a bunch of stuff that it's way easier to do in Betaflight, and then I'm gonna use the OSD to push the actual PID tune, so I can do it a little bit at a time. But there's a bunch of stuff that is in the OSD, but it's a pain in the ass to find, so I'm going to make some changes on here. All right, so first and foremost, I'm going to put my rates on here. It feels terrible in the center of the stick. It's way too sensitive in the center of the stick, and that is basically because there's almost no expo on here. I could very easily, in my opinion, this should come from the factory like that. This would make it, in my opinion, so much easier to fly, especially like inside the house. But I don't like this Betaflight old school rate profile, so I'm going to put it onto actual rates, and then I'm just going to put my specific rates on here. All right. And you will not believe how much better the flight footage looks with this rate setup. Now that we have the throttle percentage in the OSD, I'll be able to dial in the throttle midpoint, because this throttle midpoint might not be right, although, man, it did feel like it wanted 50%. Here's the thing, though. I don't want this much throttle expo. This thing has so little power that, like, I'm having to move the throttle a lot to do anything, and so this amount of throttle expo is, yeah, you just don't want that. Like, if you have a rig that, like, when you fly it around, you only alter your throttle a little bit, like a big power rig, you're going to cruise at, like, 30%, and then you might, like, move up to, like, 32, and then, like, down to 38. That's a rig that you can use a ton of throttle expo on. This thing, I'm at 50, and then I'm going, like, up to 80, 90, 100. And, like, when you're moving the stick that much, you don't necessarily want this much throttle expo. So I'm actually going to take the throttle expo out completely. And then we're going to fly it with a linear throttle and see how it is. Again, it also, like, this rig has so little power that I probably don't need Throttle Expo at all. Throttle Expo is really nice on a super powerful rig where when you make a small change, it rockets up. When you have an underpowered rig, when you make a small change, it doesn't do anything because it doesn't have a great power to weight ratio. So we probably don't need any Throttle Expo on this rig. So I've now turned it off. We'll see if my elevation is bouncing up and down. It won't be. We'll be fine. So I'm going to leave the filters alone here, I think. This is pretty close to like my standard filtering setup. So this is we've removed gobs of latency. Let's save that. Oh. What? What do you want? What are you beeping for, buddy? I'm going to move this dynamic damping up a bunch to 1.2 from 0.2. The rest of this stuff is probably kind of okay. Save this. Again, I'm going to adjust these in the OSD. Receiver tab is where I wanted to change some stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to add some RC smoothing. This is like practically no RC smoothing. So I'm just going to move this auto factor up to 100. That's going to smooth out the stick inputs a little bit. That's just the way I like it. It adds a little bit of delay, but it smooths everything out. I am going to come in here and increase the PID some. It's probably not going to do anything, but just for the sake of it. Oh my god, they've already got it turned all the way up. Yo, somebody at Emax knows what's what. Somebody at Emax knows how to tune. They've got the PID sum cranked all the way up to 100% already. Good for them. That's awesome. Hell yeah. All right, cool. So the PIDs are, I mean, the Dmax going up is a good thing. That might handle that big descending prop wash that it had. But I'm going to really go bananas pushing the PI and D gains up in a minute. But for right now, I'm going to leave it, and then we'll do that in the OSD. Because I like to kind of show you that. Because it's very easy to tune. You don't even need to use Betaflight. You just do the stick command. Cool. All right. Away we go. Round 2. Not quite fully tuned yet, but first pass, let's say, of tuning. Just arm it real quick to get it off of low power on first disarm. The VTX is not great. I mean, I'm right. It is right next to the antenna that feeds into the live stream, and we're getting a little bit of garbage. So I will say that I wish it did have a little bit of a better VTX. Although, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's crank the VTX power up. Because it was performing a lot better on 100. Oh, I didn't save it in there. I didn't hit set, rather. All right, no, I guess it is save. Confirm, yes. Confirm, yes. It doesn't usually do it twice. That's weird, but whatever. All right, here we go. All right, that feels so much better. Yeah, okay. Still doesn't have any power. Ah! Okay. I have to, because of the lack of power, I have to be like early with everything that I do. I have to like hammer the throttle really early. Now that it's on my, you know what's really funny is now that it's on my rates, I expect it to fly like everything else that I fly. Like on the other rates, it was almost constantly telling me like, yo, this is weird, fly weird. So you guys can see the throttle on the right side there. Notice how often I'm going to be at 100% throttle. Man, it just barely has enough power to turtle mode. I bet you it would have a really hard time turtle moding upstairs on the hardwood. It might not even be able to do it. There's a power loop, so it can do some things. Let's see the full Matty flip. Oh god. Oh boy. I'm also being kind of careful to not slam this into anything because it's kind of heavy and I don't want to mess stuff up. Okay. I didn't get on the throttle early enough. I don't know if I'm going to be able to Matty flip this. I got to be honest. I mean, that's just a front flip. That's not really a Matty flip. Hold on. Oh, God. Oh, that was a hard hit. The durability testing of part of this live stream has begun. I also feel like there's an awful lot of up tilt right now. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, there's tons of up tilt. Oh, there's all the up tilt in the world. That's like 45 degrees up tilt. So, yeah, all right. That's a little bit better. I thought it felt a little weird. God, nope. All the wrong buttons. All right, here we go. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's start dialing in the tune. So, stick command is pitch forward, yaw left, and then you go into profile and simplified tuning, and the D-gain slider is all the way up. I'm going to take the P&I slider and I'm going to max that, and then I'm going to come down. Let's just try that. We'll just try that. See how that is, because it might just fly away. Nope, it's fine. All right, so now we've got a ton more P&I gain. Oh, boy. This is tough to fly. It's not tough to fly. It's actually very easy to fly. It's tough to do the absurd things that I want to do. But it's actually very easy to fly because look what I can do with the throttle. Look at the throttle on the right side of the screen. Look how much I can move it. You know, like if you're new, this would be the dream, man. Like no more rocketing up into the ceiling. Like you just keep the throttle moving and you can just fly around them comfortably, right? Like what I'm doing right now for like a new pilot, this is the dream. This is the dream. You're like King Dingling if you can do this as a new pilot with your first FPV rig, right? So this is what easy to fly looks like. Look at the MAH. They obviously don't have the amp scaling set properly because this is obviously not a 2000 mAh battery. All right, we are upstairs. Oh, okay. So we still need quite a bit more PID gain. Let's see if we can do it with the master multiplier. I'm gonna push the master multiplier all the way up. First time for everything. Here we go. All the way. Let's see what happens. It's fine. It's completely fine. The powertrain. Oh, this VTX is really struggling. The powertrain is kind of so gutless that even with the PIDs cranked up that high, it still doesn't have enough response time to have issues. But man, the tune is a lot better now. It's not prop washing at all. Look at that. All right, this battery's about done. 3.5 minutes with a lot of kind of screwing around in there. All right, let's get this battery in the charger. It's better, but the lack of power is the problem. So here, this is such a great example of why tuning is not everything. And you could actually, this is a great example of like Kebab's tuning method of not touching the PIDs at all and just focusing on the mechanical system, just focusing on the powertrain. We've got the sliders all the way up. The PID gains are in deep into the hundreds. They might even be up into the 200s. But because the propellers are heavy and the motors are very low kV, the response time is just barely getting there, right? The mechanical system is not up to par. So we're putting a big Band-Aid on it with massive PID gains. And we've got it to the point where it's not prop washing, which is kind of great. But yeah, again, perfect example of how you can't just take a rig that has motors and propellers and battery voltage that don't jive with one another and just crank the PIDs and have something that rails and rips. You have to have a good mechanical system and then a good tune. Although, in my opinion, the mechanical system is more important. A good set of motors, props, and the right battery voltage, you can run it on stock PIDs and it'll be locked in. It'll fly great. So yeah, that's where a lot of that emphasis kind of comes from a lot of pilots, myself included. And yeah, that's why choosing the right motors, props, all up weight, battery voltage is super, super, super important. Let's see if we can get a Matty flip on this. I'm not going to do much of anything else. This is where I'm going to stop with the tune. I could now technically go in and start typing numbers in. I could turn off the sliders and start typing numbers in to get more PID gains. But it's fighting prop wash pretty well. And, like, that's a good place to stop. Like, it's not going to fly that much better, if any better, by continuing to push the PIDs up. If you wanted this thing to fly better, you would want to see if Emax has a higher kV set of motors for it. Or, I mean, you might be able to swap the motors out, but I don't know. This is not a rig that you would want to do that. This is a rig to leave alone, fly the hell out of it, and just, yeah, move on. I would not recommend going down the rabbit hole of upgrading this. This rig is a perfect example of one that you leave it alone and you just fly it as it is, and then away you go. Here we go, friends. Full battery. We've already used 170 milliamps, according to the OSD. Full throttle punch. Fresh battery, full throttle punch. Ready? Oh, God, I hit the ceiling. Look at that. It's still got enough power to hit the ceiling. Oh, God, now it's got 1,000,000 degrees of up tilt. All right, so one of my biggest complaints is going to be that the top of the camera, every time you hit the ceiling, it's going to add up tilt. That's going to drive you insane. So if you have this rig, put E6000 in here. Figure out like a low camera up tilt, and then just put a blob of E6000 to lock the up tilt in. I'm going to crank these screws again. Before the stream, I tightened these screws up quite a bit. It's the design of this canopy. These little wings on top here, I wish they weren't there. So yeah, every time you crash this thing inverted, it's going to try to add up tilt, which is going to completely change the way that it flies. So yeah, that's something that I would really recommend that they change about it, because that's just silly. I think they did that to give it a little bit more protection up there, but yeah, there are other ways. They would want those little horns to be on the outsides, not the part connected to the camera. Let's get this Matty flip. Almost. Oh, so close. So close. So I'm being super drastic with it to give myself enough time. So start it off low. Almost. Start it off really low, and that'll give you a big old hurl, and then you can rotate it around nice and slow. I didn't even get it into the gates. This will be some good durability testing here. Oh, and now I've got tons of up tilt again. It's kind of stuck under the gate. Oh, yeah, I don't know if I can fly it with this much up tilt. Oh, yeah, it's... Hold on. Let's just try one more Matty flip. Oh, my God. Wow, it's got all the up tilt on Earth. Hold on. Oh, God. It's so hard. God, I forgot how hard rigs are. Yeah, it's got like 45 degrees of up tilt. Again. Yeah, it's gonna drive people crazy. That's gonna make you think that you don't know how to fly. I'm gonna do the Matty flip here. I'm gonna try to do the Matty flip here. Oh my God. What? What the hell? Where is it? I don't even know where it is. Where are you, little fella? Oh, it's back behind the thing. That's why. Okay. And it's got 1,000 degrees up tilt again. You can see when it has tons of up tilt because on the bottom of the you can't see the prop guards anymore. There we go. That's what you want. You want to be able to see the prop guards in the very bottom of the frame there. That means there's not much up tilt. Nobody cares if you can Matty flip it. Let's go upstairs and blast it around. So a rig like this, you're not... Ooh! Okay, I can't see anything. Can you guys not see anything either? Oh, I get. Wow, oh my god. Wow, what has happened to the VTX power? Did it go? No, it's still at 100. Let's go for 200. Save, confirm, confirm. All right, it's at 200 now. Oh, that's way better. Wow, that's way better. Oh god. This is a rig that if you want to rip, this is how you fly it. You fly it like an RC car. This is not a big, like, throw it over the railing rig. Look at no prop wash, though. I did throw it over the railing. No prop wash at all. It was sitting down into its own wash horribly before. Oh, a little bit there. We kind of did the full room power loop, you know? Kind of. Let's try it again. Oh! We are getting some crash. Oh! Uh-oh. Nope, it's fine. Oh, nope, it's not fine. Oh, now it's fine. That was weird. I think maybe the battery, maybe that battery plug was touching one of the motors or something. Oh, God. Uh-oh. Don't be in the sink. Don't let me kill 2 brand new rigs. See, now this is what I was talking about. It's on a smooth It got over. Oh, now it won't take off. Uh-oh. Come on. I think that the battery plug is touching one of the motors. Hold on. Yeah. Well, something's going on the right rear motor. Right rear motor is either blocked or blown up. All right, I gotta go get it. Hold on. Huh. It's not what I thought it was. The battery plug is free of the right rear motor. And the right rear motor is rotating fine. Let's arm it and see what's up. No, it's not. It's twitching. Right rear motor is twitching. See it? So let's see if it's a wire issue. Let's wiggle the wires around a little bit. And then I will try to seat the plug a little bit better. Well, it's seated. The plug is seated all the way. Let's see if that changed anything. It's still... Yeah, see, it's still twitching. Damn. So this is one of the things that is super important about beginner rigs, is that this does not happen. I mean, I did crash this hard, but as a beginner, you're going to crash this stuff hard. Durability, in my opinion, is everything on a beginner rig. It's kind of the only thing that matters, in my opinion. So this is a little disappointing, I gotta be honest. I was hoping to get a lot more out of this. It looks like it wants to spin, though. Let's see if it'll... No. I mean, it hit pretty good, in fairness. Frame is totally fine. Damn. Yeah, I mean, the motor spins completely fine. It's motor 1. Oh, there it is. Back to life. Alright, let's fly a little bit more. Here we go. Goggles, stop. Oh, farts. Stop it, Goggles. Stop it. Woo! Woo, boy. Ah. taking the walk, aren't I? And now it's under the couch. Damn. Oh, well. So that failure, that is an ESC failure. That is a failure that you see when an ESC is on its way out. Basically meaning that Jesus. Probably meaning that like one of the FETs was bad. Pretty much right off the bat. Whoa, I was full throttle for a long time. That motor was not cooperating. But then it came back to life. I keep saying that motor. It's an ESC channel thing, but the motor is what's refusing to spin. Ah, come on. Ah, come on, brother. There we go. Oh man, it's got all the up tilt in the world again. Okay. Alright, up tilt back down. Please stop beeping, goggles. And let's run the rest of this battery. Ah, come on, come back to life. Come on, channel 1. Come back to me, channel 1. Come on. Oh, it just... So, you might be thinking, wow, he's going to blow that thing up from all that turtle moding. No. Turtle mode blows up ESCs when there's a propeller that's blocked and you do that shit. These propellers are not blocked, right? Because it's moving across the floor. And so going full throttle in turtle mode when the propellers are not blocked is the same thing as going full throttle when you're flying it. And we go full throttle quite a bit, right? And so, yeah. Turtle mode is not, like, dangerous. You not noticing that there's a propeller blocked is what's dangerous. Like, don't blame turtle mode for blowing up ESCs. It has nothing to do with turtle mode. It has to do with you using turtle mode incorrectly and not paying attention to whether or not the propellers are blocked. This is not a fully charged battery, but we're going to run it. It's at 4.32. So we are just going to run this, and I think this is going to be the last battery that we put through this. Emax, thank you for sending this over. For a new person, this will be fine. Stock settings are fine. You know, again, it's not a rig. I don't think that you're going to be able to like upgrade and move along your FPV path with. But if you just want to get somebody into FPV, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with this. I've never flown my first rig again either, so kind of is what it is. I don't love that this ESC channel is being weird, but that's the whole durability side of this, like, it's so difficult. It could just be this one. It's probably not all of them. Oh boy. They would stop selling it if it was like a huge problem. I don't really know what else to say about that. The up tilt again. Oh, Jesus. Let's try to fly it with this much up tilt. Jesus. Okay, hold on. Let's try to fly it with all the up tilt. Ooh! Ooh! Oh, God! All right, let's not do that anymore because that's going to actually break something. That's what we're flying. That's like 60 degrees. Oh, you can go into negative. What does that look like? Oh, yeah. It's a Medlin setup, that's all. Yeah. This is in desperate need of... Oh, let's do this. Let's do Bondic. I'm going to use Bondic to lock the up tilt. This is the beautiful thing about this UV reactive glue, is that it cures right away. So I'm going to crank... These screws keep loosening up, too. So I'm going to crank these screws down. I'm just going to give it a little bit up tilt. And then Just gonna put a little bit here. I'm super curious if this will hold up to crashing and whatnot. E6000 is super stout and it's super sticky and it would almost certainly hold up. But let's see if Bondic is up to the task. All right, so you put it on there, and then you just use the janky little UV light that it comes with. And that'll get the curing process started. It doesn't cure it all the way, but it does a really good job. All right, so there's one side, and I'm going to put a little blob on the other side too. And I'm just putting it in between the two parts of the canopy. This should hold up. I bet you this is totally fine when I'm done with it. Okay. And back on. Okay. All right. This will be a torture test for Bondic. Kevin Summer says, I think turtle mode got a bad reputation back when ESCs were a lot more fragile in the early days of FPV. I still hear people talking about it, though. I still hear people complaining. I blew up my ESC from turtle moding too much. It's like, I agree with you, Kevin. I absolutely agree with you. But yeah, it's like still a thing. People still be blaming turtle mode. Okay. Here we go with some locked up tilt. The way it should be. Almost Stevie Wondered it. Almost. Here we go. Oh boy. No. Come on, buddy. Come back to life. Hey, there it is. Yay! Ooh. Let's get up in here. Yeah, buddy. Since it has no power, it's got all the throttle resolution in the world. This is how to fly this thing. Hold on. Oh my god, never mind. Alright, so use the momentum. Nope. Use the momentum. Maybe, I think turtle moding front and back works better with this, maybe. I think the way that you fly this is low and slow. Maybe. So let's see. Is it a tiny gap shooter? Is that the Tinyhawk freestyle? Oh boy. Is that? Oh boy. Maybe not. Oh come on. No. Come on. Yes. No. Get out of there. It's awful heavy to be able to push it into tiny little gaps. What else we got? What other? And it's also kind of big. You know, the 1.6-inch props. Now, yeah, this is how you fly it. This is how you fly it. You fly it nice and slow, low up tilt. Yeah, this is it. And when you fly it like this, the lack of power doesn't matter nearly as much. And you've got all this throttle resolution without even needing to use Expo. Yeah, this is how to fly this thing. And this is hard. It's hard to fly like this. And this is the dream, right? Shoot every little tiny gap in your house? Come on. That's why you started flying Tiny Whoops, isn't it? Camera is very slow to change auto white balance. But so is Betaflight camera. Yeah, this is how you fly this thing. This is not a full tilt acro monster. Oh, fart. Oh, shit. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I'm gonna go up and get it. Is that footsteps I hear? I hear footsteps. Somebody's gonna help me. Somebody's gonna help me. Yay! Family loves me! I see little teddy feet. Yay! Thank you. Look at little teddy. Oh, I already see a problem. Lots of up tilt. Oh, and it won't arm now. RPM filter throttle. That's weird. What? Okay. Taking the walk. Thank you, though. Alright, so the Bondic didn't hold up. I have no idea why it's telling me RPM. I have no idea why it won't arm. Maggie stepped on a 1210 prop. Why won't you arm, little guy? It was fine. And now it's not. Everything was cool. Alright, let's try power cycling it. I'm sure this will fix it. Weird though. That's a weird little thing. Yeah, the Bondic let go. Bondic does need some time to cure. I was asking an awful lot of it. Oh, I'm trying to arm it too quick. Hey, there we go. Everything's fine. Okay. Last little bit of flying here. I'm not going to go back upstairs. That'll just lead to me having to take the walk again. We're going to shoot all the little... Wait, where's Teddy? Where's Teddy? Teddy Spaghetti, where you at? Look how different this one looks, buddy. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, see... Again. Oh, sorry, Teddy! Oh, boy. Now he's pissed. Look at him. He's pissed now. He's like, this big weird-looking one tried to besmirch me. Teddy, come on. Come on, little boy, chase it. You know you want to. Oh, you're the best, dog. You're the best. Yeah. Get it. Get it, buddy. You show it. You show it who's boss, little boy. Yeah. Go get it. Go get you some. It chases dogs just as good as any other tiny whoop. Confirmed. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Well, there you go, my friends. You can shoot gates with it. Other than the ESC Channel 1 being a little suspect here, not a terrible first rig. Not too shabby. Yeah, you would definitely wanna just load up E6000 to keep this camera from losing angle. Though that's a huge problem. That's gonna really, like, imagine not knowing that. Imagine like this is your first rig and you're fly, like it comes out of the box with normal up tilt. And then you crash it, and it's like this. Imagine trying to fly that. And just, like, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't, like, pick it up and be like, why is this thing flying so weird? You know, like, why is this thing flying so weird? It's so weird. It's almost like I'm just looking straight up at the sky. Like, that's bananas. They need to have a card. If they're going to have it like this, there needs to be a card in there that says, pay very close attention to your camera angle with a little picture. And now the screws have loosened themselves. So yeah, this needs attention here. This is crazy. They need to take the plastic here on the mount and make it be the highest point. They need to swoop this plastic up so that it hits the mount, not the camera. I would love higher KV motors. Even for a beginner, this would need higher KV motors. Look, put 30,000 kV motors on it and put a motor limiting thing in there for 50%. And then you've got your 15,000 kV. We smacked it a bunch of times, and yeah, C didn't love it, but frame's fine. Frame seems to be relatively durable. It's nice and bendy. Yeah. There you go. There's a little product review for you. Not something I do all that often. I don't really have a reason to keep this. Is anybody looking to get somebody into FPV? Let me know. And this is interesting to you, or do you have a bunch of spare parts for this, and we can put them all together and give somebody a hell of a FPV package? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to do with this. But let me know if you know what to do with it. Very cool. Emax, thank you for sending this over. This is a very nostalgic experience, actually. The original Baby Hawk is all white, all plastic like this, and didn't have great power to weight ratio. So yeah, at some point, I will get this guy set up and rip this thing around outside. I've actually flown one of these before. They sent me this is the 3. I think they sent me the 2 a while ago. And it was like not bad. Mainly because the Emax Rush propellers are so good. This is on 1202.5, 7,000 kV. Oh, and it's set up for double PH 2.0. So 7,000 kV is going to become like 14,000 kV on like either a 2-inch or looks like maybe a 2.5-inch prop. So this will be fun. This will be fun to blast around outside. This will be, you know what? This will be really cool to compare to the Jungle Gym Basher. Roughly the same size without propellers on. Massive difference in weight. That'll be kind of cool. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. I think this is a 2.5-inch. Where are the propellers? Here they are. Yep, these are 2.5-inch propellers. So yeah. Throw this around at some point here. Maybe this weekend? I'm going to squeeze that in this weekend. This comes with a regular old school PH 2.0 charger. I don't know what else to say about these, to be honest, other than to say thanks again to Emax. Very cool of you to send these over. I appreciate it. Bringing me back, man. Bring me back to ye olden days of FPV. I'm actually going to put these batteries on the charger and let them charge all the way up. And then there will be charged batteries, and I'll have to fly this other one. You know what I mean? Very cool. And I'm going to keep this. This is nice to have, actually. I'm going to and I'm keeping this. I'm absolutely keeping this itty-bitty little hysterical screwdriver for ants. Awesome. That is a thing that I don't do very often. Product review-ish stuff. Let's fly the fresh 36,000 kV. No. Let me get caught up on chat. Yeah. All right. So there's only 10 minutes left before midnight. So that was 6 batteries, I think, right? Go fly your 6 batteries, my friends. Or else. Okay. Let us dive on in to the chat. And let me see how much I can get caught up here. Scrolling up a ton. I wanted to show you guys something that Frank Nicholas sent me. It's pretty cool. I'm going to show you guys on Friday. I'll show you that on Friday because I have an email up that I don't want to lose. Roasted Peanuts, thank you for joining the Patreon, my friend. Welcome to the Gangly Gang. Thank you so much for the support. There's a bunch of others, but again, there's an email up that I don't want to go away. So, where are we at here? 661 says, dog was fine. It was a huge dog. Talking about his Ishi and Tiny Whoop that the dog literally swallowed the whole thing. Frank Nicholas says, as a bind and fly, the gyro 8K might be required for that PID tune. Oh, that's interesting. I was afraid of the CPU usage being too high though. Demo FPV says, "Can you make Betaflight page bigger? Can't see well on my phone." Sorry, brother. Read that a little bit too late for you. James Reedy says, "I flashed mine and regretted it. Stock 2 knows the ways of the Force." Mine did totally fine with all the changes. I mean, I guess technically there's a chance that the changes that I made could have had something to do with the ESC going up. But no, because it wasn't oscillating. The motors weren't getting like blindingly hot or anything, right? Like it wasn't getting core temperature warnings. So yeah, I highly, highly, highly doubt the changes that I made had anything to do with it. They could have though. If I had more time, I guess I could have put 10 batteries through it as it was out of the box. But you know, we're here to tune stuff and improve stuff, and I've tuned a million rigs in the way that I just did, and there's never been any like, yeah, no, it's fine. We know how tuning works. We've seen black box logs. There are definite like yeah, there are signs when you are overtuned, and overtuning is what potentially causes problems. If it's not overtuned, then it's not putting extra stress on the ESC, more so than when you just go full throttle, right? Every time you go full throttle, that puts a bunch of stress on the ESC. When you turn the tune up, it fights prop wash by going full throttle. So it's, yeah, there's not like, yeah. Notice says, posted a pic and a question in Toothpick and Whoop on the Discord, if you don't mind. Hopefully you're still around. First Whoop build, trying to fit 2G4 into a Cockroach V3. Yeah, no, it's fine. You trimmed, yeah, that's fine that you trimmed it there. The trick is to put the duct comes around here, and then the 2G4 has the plug for the camera, and it pushes in, but the duct is like this. So what you want to do is take the 2G4 with that camera plug and put that in first, and then put it down on the rest of the posts. And once it's in there, there's plenty of clearance, because the duct is, the ducts are like that, right? But the AIO sits nice and far down, so the plug clears. So yeah, the plug, you put that in first, and then you crank the rest of it down. Notice you'll understand what I'm saying. The rest of you don't need to know. But the fact that you trimmed it like that is totally fine. But in the future, you don't technically have to trim it like that. Why don't I just show you guys the goddamn picture, and then you'll understand what we're saying. It's the plug here. So notice, trim this out. But technically, you didn't have to do that. Technically, just take this board and angle it in there to put this plug under this part of the duct first, and then put the rest of the board down on the rest of the posts. Oh, you don't have the grommets on there. Yeah, so get the rubber grommets on there. Slide. So you put the rubber grommets on this post and on this post, and then you just take your finger and pull this duct away so that you can get those wires and that plug tucked under here towards the bottom of the duct, and then you take the board and you put these other two grommets on these other two things, and you'll be good to go. Yep, good question. Where are we at here? Andrew Taylor says you can bind it on the receiver's page. I always forget that there's a bind button on the receiver's page. Good call, Andrew. Thank you for that. Moss1 says, my new Mobula 6 2024 is on 2K PID loop. Should I go up to 4K? I would. Yeah, I would go up to 4K. It'll be fine. Michael Blade says, hello. James Reedy says you can bind the RX and adding a binding phrase in Betaflight. That's another way you can bind ELRS with binding phrases. Michael Blade says, can I solder motor wires on a flight controller with the plug-and-play? I need more to go off of. I don't know what flight controller, I don't know what you mean when you say with the plug-and-play. But if there are pads, you can solder the motor wires, is the easy answer to that. Kevin Summer says, Andrew Taylor, Um, it's at some point. All right, you guys got to figure it out, I think. Todd Houston says, I built a set of wannabe iCal motors, 1.5 mil motor shaft RS0802 with tiny whoop 27,000 kV stators. Having trouble with one of them spinning up. Motors were fine before. What do I do? First and foremost, take 2 motors and swap them to make sure that the motor is the problem and that the ESC is not the problem. That's the first thing you need to do. After that, you'll definitely have isolated the motor. You got to see if like if you broke the wires when you were handling it. The wires are so thin, so you got to investigate where the wire is soldered up to the little PCB on the motor. Make sure that one of those wires is not broken off. And then you also want to look to make sure that you got the washers in the right places to make sure that the motor bell is not like rubbing or something weird like that. There's a bunch of stuff for you to try. Curtis Hayes says Cube 32 Programmer saves everything, including the Betaflight code / memory. I don't know what Cube 32 Programmer is, but Curtis Hayes also says that save backup doesn't always work. Yeah, I've had that experience. Off Axis is in the house. He says, I remember JESC. That and Emu Flight was my Mobula 6 setup 3 years ago. Nice. Off Axis dropping the Patreon link in there. Thank you, dude. Kevin Summer says, in SH90S is the ESC configuration. Awesome. The MCU pinout. H is the MCU type. Very cool. And 90 is the FET timing. Yeah, the gate timing. I think you had it right. Very cool. Thank you for that, homie. Dead Stiff says, put BT 3.0 and your 300 mAh 2S battery on it. It would probably work. But yeah, this is not a rig that I'm going to really spend any time upgrading. Would be kind of interesting, though. How far can we push it? I'm not doing it. Don't want that. Jabo says, can I have the OSD menu in my Transporter 2 goggles, or is it only in higher-end goggles? I can't get it to work. OSD in Betaflight, it puts it in the video signal, so it'll work anywhere. It's literally drawing it as a layer on top of your actual video. So yeah, if you can't get it to work, there's something going on in Betaflight. Kevin Sumner says, I think turtle mode. Oh, we got that. We talked about that one. Kevin also says, how many people still talk about lower KV having more torque, even though it's been proven over time and time again not to be true? Same crap propagates throughout time. Yeah, very true. Very, very true. Jason Crabtree says it's cool to get a perspective from a pilot like you flying one from a pilot like you were flying something like that Tinyhawk. That is exactly why I was kind of excited to do this tonight, because like, yeah, you don't really see like pilots that have dove so deeply into this go back and fly like a super beginner oriented kind of rig hard. Like a lot of times when you know, they just put them outside and fly them around the grass and go, yeah, it flies, great, buy it, here's my affiliate link. It's super interesting to try to do big gnarly stuff with it. Denzel the Terrible says, tell Maggie she's the best. I do frequently. Andrew Taylor says, I got the RPM filter error on my freestyle. Rebooting from the OSD would fix it. Yep. That's a weird error. That's popped up on plenty of my rigs. Super rare, but yeah, it does. It is some weird thing. Off Axis says, want to donate to the FPV the City event? I'll pay shipping. Message me. Yeah, if we can figure out like a really good use for this, I'm down. Itchy sack. Why am I such a child? This is exciting. I get to say this out loud at work. Itchy Sack FPV says, what's up, brother Ciotti? Looking good. Been a minute. Thank you, brother. Thank you for having a name that makes me happy. Notice says, so no gummies? No. You have to have gummies. You cannot not use the rubber grommets. It will not work without them. You got to use them. Bad says, you always say about bi-blades for 75mm analog. I've been using GemFan 1635s for my 35,000 kV builds. Jesus. What's the downside of doing so? Tri-blades are significantly heavier. Those 1635 tri-blades are super pitchy as well. So yeah, it's a very heavy, very pitchy propeller. So that's going to drag your response time down. So your PID loop is going to really struggle to catch prop wash. And then I've found that those 1635 propellers actually make a lot less thrust than the Gemfan biblades. What I think is happening is that they're so heavy and they're so pitchy that the motor just, these little motors that we run just don't have enough grunt to spin them up to a good RPM where they'll start to kind of like sing and become efficient, and make good power. So yeah, in my experience, the Gemfan 1610 biblades actually make more power than all of the other 1.6 inch props, which it shouldn't be the case, but yeah, I think it's just that like those 1635 props, I think you would need to put them on like a 1202 or an 1102 for the motor to have enough power for that heavy and that pitchy of a propeller. Kind of like you're going up a hill in your car in fifth gear and it's like a 4-cylinder, it's gonna like and fall. With a gasoline engine, it's different because it's gonna fall out of its efficiency range where it makes less power. But it's an analogy that kind of works for your brain, in theory. Offexis says, how much better is the new Mobula 6 2024 versus the original Mobula 6? I don't necessarily think that it's better. It's a little bit lighter, but I think that the 2G4 is the best AIO that we've ever had for tiny whoops. Still, I still think that. I think that the Mobula 2024 is fine. I think it's the best. It's the best option for a rig that you're going to upgrade. But I would rather still have the 2G4 from like a durability perspective and from a the camera has a plug and it's not direct soldered perspective. And also from like a reliability standpoint, the 2G4 was just bomb proof, and the Mobula 6 2024 it seems to be okay, but it doesn't seem to be as bomb proof. And so yeah, it's the best we've got though, and it is a little bit lighter, which is nice. Notice with the $5 super chat, he said thanks. You're certainly welcome, brother. Thank you for the support. And then Moss1 with the last comment of the live stream, he says, hey buddy, my new Mobula 6 comes with 2K PID loop. Am I risking going to 4K? Yeah, I answered a little bit. You're good. Go to 4K. You're fine. Teddy, do you have anything to say? Go to CiottiFPV.com. Change all of your bookmarks to Aaron's affiliate links. And join his Patreon, because otherwise he's gonna beat me to death. You don't want that to be on your conscience, do you? You don't want me to get beaten to death by this gangly lunatic behind me, do you? It's up to you. It's up to you. Look at this face. He just runs full speed. He runs up the stairs. He's like, I'm out of here. Off access drop in the CiottiFPV.com link. Thank you, homie. Thanks for hanging, friends. A little bit of a different stream tonight, but that was really cool. That was really interesting, flying something that heavy and that sort of underpowered. I find it insane that you can still do power loops and Matty flips. If I'd tried the Matty flips a couple more times, I would have gotten them. Yeah, really, really, really funny. What you can't do with something this heavy and underpowered is like throw it across the room, right? Like you guys saw when I was trying to do that, it's just like, and it just falls down. But it is cool that you can still do power loops and whatnot. So like, you know, you could technically buy one of these things and put 1,000 batteries through it and get really, really good. Which is kind of, that was sort of my path, right? Like that original Baby Hawk was very underpowered, but I just flew battery after battery after battery and it got pretty good. So yeah, there you go. Fly what you got. Run what you brung, my friends. Fly what you got. Fly the shit out of it, and you'll get good, and you'll have fun in the process. It's. I guess maybe it's a little bit more fun to fly super hopped up stuff, but that's, you know, from like when you're new, flying through your house and whatnot, like that is super fun. You know what I mean? Like, it's not as much fun for me because I've flown 11 billion batteries over the last 8 years. But yeah, focus on the fun. Fly what you got. Fly the hell out of it. Fix it. Fly it some more. CiottiFPV.com. Be good, my friends. Here's some more jungle gym bashing outside, up front. Love you, bye. See you Friday at 7 o'clock Eastern time. I remember.